I was a cast member for 5 years. I watched an entire cheerleading team get kicked out of Walt Disney World and banned from their competition for breaking some pretty serious rules. And this is a cast member story. Thank you to everyone that participated in the poll to pick this week's story. This was a pretty crazy experience because these cheerleaders were not just kicked out of our ride, they were not just kicked out of our land, they were banned from Walt Disney World for a year, and their entire team was instantly disqualified from cheerleading worlds at Walt Disney World. Now, my sisters did competitive cheerleading as I grew up. They went to a lot of competitions. While we didn't specifically go to the one in Florida, we did go to some in Virginia Beach and other areas around there. It's a very big deal to be able to go to these competitions, and it's expensive, and it takes a lot. Our entire family would travel down to whatever city it was happening at. You had to pay a ton of fees. You had to be able to get the hotel, pay for the food, and you would spend hours and hours and hours waiting for them to go up and do about a 3-minute routine. Now, I love my sisters. I did it happily. I got to experience it. But if we had gone all the way there, had done all that, waited all this time, paid all this money, and then they did something stupid and got their entire team kicked out, I would be pretty mad. That is exactly what happened at Space Mountain at Walt Disney World in 2017. Now, Walt Disney World hosts the World Championship for cheerleading all the time. There's actually multiple times a year that cheerleading divisions come down to Florida. I am sure if you visited Walt Disney World before, you've probably seen this. They usually all wear the same colored shirts. They're doing cheers throughout the park. But there's actually some pretty specific rules for them. To be able to be a cheerleading competition team at Walt Disney World, you're usually given a discounted set of rooms and tickets. One of those could be if you're staying at All-Star Sports, at All-Star Movies. If you happen to be there during one of those weeks, you have probably noticed this, as there are hundreds, if not thousands, of cheerleaders aged anywhere from 5 to 16. And they're all going to be there usually in the same section, same rooms. They dominate the buses, they dominate the rides. Now, this isn't hating. There are a lot of cheerleading teams that are just here to visit Walt Disney World and have a competition, and that's awesome. But you've also heard the stories of the cheerleading teams that are pretty bad. They like to do stunts, they like to do tricks, they like to do kind of crazy stuff or be exceedingly loud inside the parks, and that's where Disney has their rules. They get the advantage of being able to go into these parks and sometimes go early or get discounted tickets and discounted rooms, but then they have to sign a pretty hefty contract. This contract includes not breaking the rules, not doing drugs or alcohol, or something that would be considered really bad that we'd kick guests out for anyway. But it doesn't just lock you in, it locks your entire team. And I'm not saying that it's just locking in, the 20 in this group. I'm saying if you have a younger, a mid, and a higher level, that entire team, everyone in that brand or company is going to be connected to that one contract. That became the issue at Space Mountain. Now, we have a lot of people in line at Space Mountain. It's not uncommon to have 1,000, 2,000 people in line. It's also normal for that building to be very, very loud. You kind of just tone everything out when you work there. Some people even wear earplugs to be able to, block out a bunch of the noise because it is exceedingly loud. So if we hear a scream or a yell or someone talking or laughing, you really just don't think about it. You just go down, checking the rockets and all that stuff. So when I am sending rockets, I've got one hand on the station stop and checking people and whatever and doing all that, and I hear a blood-curdling scream. I'm talking a scream so loud that hundreds of people just boom, immediately turn around and go, what on earth just happened? My heart drops because I'm waiting to hear the emergency stop go over the building. I'm thinking someone got hit by a rocket, someone fell out of a vehicle, someone got seriously hurt, someone in line collapsed and had a heart attack. That loud of a scream. And it echoed through the building. It's a gigantic steel and concrete building. Everyone heard it. We look over and we see something. A crowd, bunch of people moving around. Well, now I get freaked out. Oh, great. Now there's not a riot, but just people freaking out and running around. Did they think something went wrong? They got scared and, much like in The Lion King and a pack of wildebeest, are we about to start a stampede that's going to go through our entire queue? Well, it was people freaking out, it was a large group of screaming, and it all came out to be a bunch of teenage girls that just ruined their entire vacation, and not just for them, for every single parent, every single guardian, every single coach, and every cheerleader on their entire team. They made the genius idea of deciding to do a stunt. Now, if you don't know for cheerleading, a stunt is basically anytime you're going to get a bunch of cheerleaders and they're going to pick someone up, or they're going to do a flip, they're going to do a cartwheel, something like that, but they decide to do it as a group. It's already crazy enough, and they can already get in trouble for doing cartwheels and flips on Main Street, which you honestly have a lot of room. While it's not recommended, you probably could get away with it without hurting anybody. But to do it inside of a building, inside of a queue at Space Mountain, and not just a little stunt, they had the grand idea to try and take pictures and videos of them doing a stunt where they had a group, a base, a pyramid, go and grab a bunch of these girls and pick them up. Yes, pick them up, pick a girl up in the middle of a queue inside of a ride, and throw her. So they throw, I don't know the exact age, I want to say 8 or 9. They threw a young girl who jumped up in the air, did a trick, and landed inside of the queue of Space Mountain. Thankfully, we had one of our coordinators there. This man, we're going to call him John. I'll probably talk about him in future episodes. John did not play around, ever. But he was also a bit sassy in ways. He came up to him and said, "Whoa, team, that's so awesome. That was a great, cool stunt. My grandkids used to do that. What team are you with? That was cool. I want to look you up." He was doing all of this to get their information, and I don't believe that they just can't believe that they were dumb enough to fall for this. But their coach was there with them. They usually had a coach per each section of the girls in the team. The coach decided to be like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, we're with All-Star Magic, whatever." I don't remember the team's name, but they were like, "Yeah, we're with them." And he's like, "That's so cool." He immediately turns around, gets on the radio, figures out what the team's name is, calls the ESPN Wide World of Sports, and by the time they make it up to the Rockets to get on the ride, he has turned back around and he has security with them, and he goes, "Hey guys, for your stunt that you just did and you decided to tell me your team name, we looked it up. Fun fact, you just lost the competition. You are now disqualified, and we have called every single team around Walt Disney World. Some weren't even in the same park. They were at Epcot, and they have also been told that you were disqualified. You have until the end of the day to get out of the Walt Disney World hotels. All of your tickets are banned. All of your discounts are completely gone, and we're not giving you any of your money back. In fact, all the money that you spent for the hotel rooms for the next 3 days, that sucks, they're gone." That's right, the entire team just royally messed up. Not just them, but everyone, even the people in different parks. So that is one of the only times I have seen Disney go crazy on banning. I've been told they do it a lot for cheerleading teams. They have gotten extremely aggressive because they've done stunts where they're in the middle of the park and they fall down and a shoe will hit a random guest, and they've broken people's skin, they've broken arms, they've severely hurt people. And again, this isn't saying that all the cheerleaders are bad. I don't think they are. Again, my sisters were part of it. But, I mean, throwing people around a park in a park that holds 50,000 plus people is a very dangerous idea. And that's part of their contract, especially with their coach being there and being part of the team that actually threw this girl in the air. I don't know how you could be that dumb. But that's what happened. They were banned. They were screaming when they learned that they lost. They started crying, and they were escorted by security all the way out of Space Mountain, sent out the front gates, and while we don't really have, a gate, when they were sent past the ticket gates, they basically slammed the door and said, "Go away." Every single person in their entire team was banned from visiting Walt Disney World for an entire year, banned from buying tickets to go and hotel rooms, banned from even visiting Disney Springs. Their team was immediately disqualified with zero refund. So, if you are ever part of a cheerleading team or know someone that's coming down, you should know Disney is very serious about this. You're going to want to be able to follow the rules, and they're not that crazy rules. It's just kind of don't do stunts and don't cause a mass gathering and don't bring in speakers that are going to be nuts inside of the park. Be an everyday park guest, go and enjoy your cheerleading, win the world champions, win the US champions, having a fantastic time. Just don't be dumb, or else you're going to get banned from Walt Disney World and lose hundreds, if not thousands of dollars per person. And that's a cast member story.